only went in for gallbladder surgery. Nothing more, nothing less. But when I opened my eyes in that cold hospital room, I felt something was terribly wrong. My head throbbed with a strange heaviness, and bandages stretched across places on my body that should never have been touched. The young doctor standing beside my bed looked uneasy, almost guilty. Then, in a hushed whisper, she said words that made my heart freeze forever. "I'm sorry. I didn't realize your son hadn't told you. He approved another procedure you never agreed to." Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments what time it is where you are now. My name is Margaret Turner. I am 66 years old, living in the quiet town of Ashwood, Illinois. Until that September morning, I believed my life was simple. I had one son, Daniel, whom I adored beyond words. He was my pride, my companion after my husband's death, the reason I woke up with purpose. Daniel was married to a woman named Claire, polished on the outside, sharp on the inside. I never fully trusted her smile, but for Daniel's sake, I stayed quiet. That morning, Daniel drove me to the hospital himself. It was supposed to be routine, a simple gallbladder removal. He even made my favorite breakfast, scrambled eggs with chives, just the way his father used to. He held my hand at every stoplight, reassuring me. "Everything's going to be fine, Mom. Don't you worry." Claire kissed my cheek and added softly, "We'll take care of everything." At the time, those words felt comforting. Later, they would haunt me. When I woke from anesthesia, my world was no longer mine. The doctor, a young resident named Dr. Anna Brooks, closed the curtain and sat close to me. Her face was pale. "Mrs. Turner," she said carefully, "your son Daniel signed authorization for a second surgery while you were under a neurological procedure." My chest tightened. "What do you mean?" I never agreed to that." She explained, gently but firmly, that according to hospital records, Daniel had presented medical notes suggesting I had shown early signs of dementia, forgetfulness, disorientation, mood swings. He insisted a surgical evaluation of certain brain structures was urgent to prevent decline. I was stunned. "That's a lie. I live alone, handle my own bills, drive. I read every evening. I have no confusion." She handed me the medical file. At the bottom of a long report was a signature. Dr. Thomas Carter, geriatric specialist. He claimed he had evaluated me just last month. The report described a woman I did not recognize. Forgetful, paranoid, even aggressive. "I've never even met this doctor," I whispered. My eyes scanned the page again and again, as if it would change. Then it clicked. Claire's maiden name was Carter, and her younger cousin Thomas had once bragged about working in medical research, though he'd never finished residency. The betrayal was so sharp I could barely breathe. "That's not my signature," I told Dr. Brooks, pointing to the surgical consent form in the file. The shaky scrawl was a poor imitation of mine. "Someone forged it." Her eyes widened. "You're right. The handwriting doesn't match the others in your file. Mrs. Turner, this isn't just wrong, it's illegal." The hospital believed Daniel because he had also filed for temporary medical power of attorney, giving him legal authority over my care. He had planned everything. The unauthorized surgery, the forged report, the fake consent. And now, with those documents in place, he could decide my future. "He's already spoken to the social worker," Anna added, her voice heavy. "He wants you evaluated for long-term memory care." The walls of the room closed in on me. My son, my Daniel, was trying to erase me while I was still alive. "Doctor," I said, fighting the dizziness, "I need your help. I need every copy of these documents. If I stay here, I'll lose everything. My freedom, my home, my name." She hesitated. The hallway outside buzzed with footsteps and voices. And then, as if summoned by my fear, I heard it, Daniel's voice. Calm, concerned, persuasive. "Yes, she's been terribly confused lately," he told a nurse. "Please make sure she doesn't try to leave. She doesn't always know what she's doing." Dr. Brooks looked at me, then at the window. Second floor. Fire escape right outside. With her help, I pulled myself out of bed. Every movement tore at my stitches, but adrenaline kept me steady. She handed me a plastic envelope stuffed with the documents. "Take this," she whispered. "It's the evidence you'll need. And take my number. If anyone questions you, I'll testify." The door handle rattled. Daniel was coming in. I climbed out the window with my heart pounding like a drum. As I reached the fire escape, I heard him shout, "Where's my mother?" "She discharged herself," Dr. Brooks lied calmly. I made it down to the parking lot, trembling, clutching the papers to my chest. Just as panic threatened to swallow me, a familiar green SUV pulled in. My sister Helen. Beside her sat Andrew, our family lawyer. "Margaret!" Helen cried, rushing out to hold me. "You look pale as death. What happened?" "We can't stay here," I whispered. "I'll explain in the car. Just drive." As the city blurred past us, I told them everything. The surgery, the forged reports, the fake doctor, Daniel's lies. Helen gripped the steering wheel so tightly her knuckles whitened. Twice she had to pull over because rage made her hands shake too much to drive. Andrew, calm and methodical, examined each document. His jaw tightened. "This isn't just betrayal, Margaret. This is criminal fraud, forgery, medical assault. He's setting you up to lose legal control over your life. If he succeeds, he'll take your house, your savings, everything." The words hit me harder than any scalpel. My only son was dismantling my life piece by piece, not because I was ill, but because I was worth more to him as a helpless patient than as a mother. That night, in Helen's spare bedroom, I couldn't sleep. I kept hearing Daniel's voice in the hallway, smooth and convincing, telling strangers that I was confused. I realized how easy it would be for others to believe him. How many times had I brushed off his sharpness as stress? How many times had I ignored Claire's calculating eyes? The next morning, Andrew returned with news. I looked into Dr. Thomas Carter. There is no licensed geriatrician by that name. But Claire's cousin, Thomas Carter, does exist. He was expelled from medical school 3 years ago for falsifying research data. He's been investigated twice for forgery. The conspiracy was deeper than I imagined. It wasn't just Daniel and Claire. They had enlisted a proven fraudster to manufacture my decline on paper. "But Margaret," Andrew continued, "there's worse. Daniel filed an emergency petition in court this morning to have you evaluated for conservatorship. If we don't fight back, you could be declared incompetent within days." My breath caught. A courtroom battle against my own son. The boy whose hand I had held on his first day of school, whose nightmares I had soothed, whose father's death I had shielded him from. And now, he was trying to bury me alive under the weight of lies. When the hearing date arrived, I walked into the courtroom with Helen on one side and Andrew on the other. My legs shook, but my heart burned with fire. Daniel and Claire sat across the aisle. They looked polished, sorrowful, the picture of a loving family forced to confront tragedy. The judge entered. His stern eyes swept the room. My fate, my freedom, my very identity, rested in his hands. And so began the fight of my life. The courtroom was silent except for the scratching of pens and the shuffle of papers. Judge Harris, a stern man in his early 70s, sat at the bench. His eyes sharp and unreadable. I swallowed hard. My hands trembled on the table, but Helen squeezed them firmly. Andrew leaned in and whispered, "Stay calm. The truth is on our side." Daniel's lawyer rose first. His voice was smooth, confident, rehearsed. "Your Honor, this is not a case of greed or deception. This is a son desperately trying to protect his mother from the ravages of a cruel disease. Mrs. Turner has shown increasing confusion, paranoia, and memory loss. The medical report from Dr. Thomas Carter clearly supports early dementia. And just last week, she attempted to leave the hospital against medical advice, endangering herself. Every word was a blade in my chest. Daniel's lawyer painted me as a fragile, confused woman, unable to care for myself. Then Daniel himself took the stand. He lowered his eyes, his voice trembling with carefully rehearsed grief. I love my mom more than anything. Watching her forget important things. It's been heartbreaking. She once left the stove on all night. She accused Claire of stealing her jewelry, when in fact she had misplaced it. I knew she'd be furious with me for authorizing the neurological procedure, but I couldn't sit by while her mind slipped away. I just want to keep her safe. He even cried. Actual tears rolled down his cheeks. A part of me wanted to scream, to rush across the courtroom and shake him until the mask fell away. But Andrew had warned me. Patience was our weapon. Next, Claire took the stand. She clutched a handkerchief, her eyes glistening. It's been so hard, Your Honor. We love Margaret. She's like a mother to me. But lately, she forgets conversations we just had. She once thought it was 1998 and asked where her husband was. We just want to do what's best for her. We're not trying to hurt her. We just want her safe. The courtroom murmured in sympathy. Their performance was convincing, too convincing. For a moment, I felt the room slipping away from me. Maybe no one would believe me. Maybe their lies would swallow my truth whole. Then Andrew stood. His presence filled the room with quiet authority. Your Honor, what you've just heard is not the truth. It is the most calculated scheme of elder fraud I have witnessed in my 40 years of legal practice. My client is not confused. She is not incompetent. She is the victim of an elaborate conspiracy led by her own son and daughter-in-law, aided by a known fraudster posing as a doctor. The judge raised his eyebrows. Go on, Mr. Langford. Andrew began laying out our evidence piece by piece. He showed the forged consent form alongside my verified signatures, the differences glaring to the naked eye. He presented the research into Thomas Carter, how he was not licensed, how he had been expelled from medical school, how his record included forgery. But the turning point came when Andrew called our surprise witness. Dr. Anna Brooks, please take the stand. She walked in wearing her white coat, her posture steady despite the nerves in her eyes. Under oath, she told the judge everything. When I came on shift that morning, Mrs. Turner was recovering from gallbladder surgery. I was shocked to see a second neurological procedure listed in her chart. When she woke, she was lucid, coherent, and appropriately outraged when I informed her. There were no signs of confusion or dementia. I helped her obtain copies of the documents because I believed something illegal had occurred. Andrew asked the question that mattered most. In your professional medical opinion, Dr. Brooks, does Mrs. Turner show signs of dementia? Absolutely not, she said firmly. Her memory, orientation, and reasoning are intact. She is competent. The room shifted. Whispers rippled through the audience. For the first time, Daniel and Claire's polished masks cracked. When it was my turn, I stood slowly, my legs trembling but my voice steady. Your Honor, I began. I raised my son alone after my husband died. I gave him everything I had. My love, my trust, my sacrifices. And last week, while I lay unconscious on an operating table, he authorized a surgery on my brain without my consent. He forged my name. He brought in a fake doctor. And he told strangers that I was losing my mind. Why? 'Cause he wants my home, my savings, my life. But I am not confused. I am not incompetent. I am his mother, and I know exactly what he has done. My words trembled, but they carried a weight years of motherhood had carved into me. When Daniel's lawyer tried to rattle me on cross-examination, I held firm. It's not paranoia when you hold forged documents in your hands, I told him. It's survival. After a tense recess, Judge Harris returned to deliver his verdict. The room fell silent. In my decades on the bench, he said gravely, I have rarely encountered such a grotesque abuse of trust. The evidence demonstrates that Daniel Turner and his wife Claire orchestrated a conspiracy to defraud and incapacitate Mrs. Turner through forged medical reports, unconsented surgery, and fraudulent legal filings. This is not care. This is cruelty of the highest order. His gavel struck. The petition for conservatorship is denied. Furthermore, I am referring this matter to the district attorney for immediate criminal investigation." Daniel's face drained of color. Claire's jaw tightened, her eyes darting like a trapped animal. For the first time, they were exposed, naked in their betrayal. As we left the courtroom, Daniel leaned close, his voice a venomous whisper. "This isn't over, Mom. You'll regret this." But the tremor in his voice told me the truth. He was afraid. Days later, the DA's office launched a sweeping investigation. What they uncovered shook me to my core. Daniel and Claire hadn't just targeted me. They were part of a wider scheme, working with Thomas Carter to target wealthy seniors. Forged reports, unauthorized procedures, fraudulent conservatorship. There were over 30 victims. Some had lost everything. Some had died under suspicious circumstances. Daniel and Claire were arrested. Facing overwhelming evidence, they eventually pleaded guilty. Daniel received 15 years in prison. Claire received 12. Thomas Carter was sentenced to 20 for fraud, forgery, and practicing medicine without a license. On sentencing day, Daniel turned to me. His eyes, once so full of charm, were hollow. "Mom," he said softly, "I know you'll never forgive me, but I want you to know I'm sorry. I don't know why I let greed eat me alive. I betrayed you, the one person who never gave up on me." I looked at him, my heart aching with both love and fury. The son I raised would never have done this. "I hope prison teaches you the value of the mother you destroyed." Those were the last words I ever spoke to him. But my story didn't end there. From the ashes of betrayal, I built something stronger. With the money I managed to protect and donations from families who had suffered like me, I founded the Lantern Project, an organization to protect seniors from fraud and abuse. We provide free legal aid, medical advocacy, and emotional support. In just 2 years, we've helped more than 200 victims, recovered millions in stolen assets, and exposed countless schemes. My pain became my purpose. My silence turned into a voice for the voiceless. I will never get back the son I lost. But I can honor every mother, every father, who has been betrayed by the very children they trusted most. I went into surgery a mother. I woke up a victim. But today I stand as a survivor, a fighter, and a protector. And to anyone listening, if betrayal comes from within your own family, don't let shame silence you. Don't let love blind you. Trust the evidence. Trust yourself. Because sometimes the people closest to you are the ones holding the sharpest knives. If you like this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions of the story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the box on the left. Thank you for watching.